What a recruiting weekend for Tennessee. They started the weekend at number 11. Currently, as we tape this, they are sitting at number 7. A huge weekend. Laganza, Shady Hayward, he commits. Desan Brame, he flips from Oregon to Tennessee. But the big news of the weekend was offensive tackle David Sanders back in Knoxville. We're going to talk all about it with Matt Ray from VolQuest. But first, Tennessee fans, make sure you guys jump on board. Hit subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. It's an exciting time to follow recruiting. We need Tennessee fans to be a part of it. All right, let's bring on Matt Ray from VolQuest. And Shady Hayward, that's a huge win for Tennessee over Georgia. I don't want to say it was expected, but hey, all the experts expected Shady Hayward to pick Tennessee, and he did. But I want to talk about flip Desan Brame. He committed to Oregon about 6 weeks ago. How is Tennessee able to flip him in such a short amount of time?
I think this really came back to Alec Ablin in the end, Josh. I mean, leading into the official visit process, I think most everyone had Desan Brame, picked to go to Oregon. It felt like it was trending in that direction. Tennessee got him there in the middle of the month and made a big move, and in large part because of Alec Ablin. They got him there on the weekend of the 14th. They had to survive the storm of the June 21st official visit to Oregon. I think Alec Ablin played that the right way. I think he communicated with Desan Brame the right way during that trip. And as it started working toward that decision at the end of the month, Tennessee really started to surge behind the scenes, but Oregon just stayed persistent, didn't really go away. And if you listen to the commitment video over on VolQuest.com when he flipped, he said he probably should have pushed that date back. He kind of got wrapped up in the moment, and right away he knew, that he had made the wrong decision and that his heart had been at Tennessee. And I think the way that Alec Ablin communicated with him again after he picked Oregon, it allowed it to kind of happen naturally for Desan Brame, and his family's very content with him coming to Rocky Top.
And George McIntyre, the quarterback commitment for Tennessee, boy, was he happy to get Brame in the picture. And that wasn't the only person he was recruiting this weekend. George McIntyre was also heavily involved with the offensive tackle, David Sanders, the number 1 offensive tackle in America. Matt, he spent some time in Knoxville. He spent some time in Lincoln. What are your sources saying coming out of this weekend?
I think Tennessee continues to feel like they're in a good spot with David Sanders, like they have somewhat most of the spring. It's continued to obviously be a battle. I think George McIntyre has been a key piece, when you look at David Sanders. He has relationships at each school with other recruits. I think I've said this on here before, Josh, and I'll say it again. I think in terms of a non-coach, non-player, I think George McIntyre is the best relationship that David Sanders has in this recruiting process currently. I think that's been big for Tennessee. I think he understands the vision, of what George McIntyre sees at Tennessee, and I think those two have related very well throughout the process, and having another chance to be around each other again this weekend, I think was big for Tennessee. But I think Tennessee continues to feel like they've done all they can do to land David Sanders at this point as we get here now, roughly 3 weeks away from his decision.
Yeah, so roughly 3 weeks away from his decision, who do you believe is Tennessee's biggest competition for David Sanders?
Josh, I think Nebraska swung. I think Nebraska's very much in this, and you can't discount them. I still think that for me today, I would say that Ohio State is probably that team that's right there, right at the top of this with Tennessee. I just think when you look at David Sanders' process, and that family has done such an excellent job throughout this thing. I don't think they've tipped their hand very much in any direction, but I think when you look at the consistency of visits to Tennessee and Ohio State and the amount of time and details that they've kind of combed over between those two programs, I still think that's important, to them. I think he wanted to get one more look at Nebraska because of the way that they've recruited him, and they're certainly in the mix, but I would still say Ohio State's Tennessee's biggest competition today.
All right. Well, roughly 2 weeks out. I think Tennessee fans should be feeling pretty good right now. We're going to see what happens, though. A lot of game left in the David Sanders sweepstakes. Last Saturday, Tennessee beat Georgia for linebacker Christian Gass, one of the top linebackers in the state of Georgia. Tennessee landed him, and then they were hoping to go out and flip Jaden Perlotti, who's also committed to UGA, and it seemed like they were trending in that direction, and then Jaden Perlotti kind of took a left turn. He did not show up in Knoxville this weekend. He showed up at USC all the way out west. Are the Trojans, because there is a pick in now for the Trojans to flip him rather than the Vols, Are the Trojans a real threat to flip Jaden Perlotti?
Yeah, I think absolutely at this point in the recruiting process they are. Obviously Scott Schrader put in a prediction for a flip for Jaden Perlotti from Georgia to USC, or from Georgia to USC, and I think when you look at USC recruiting, there's no one that covers it better than Scott, in my opinion. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I think Jaden Perlotti is a guy that, as he goes out and he takes these visits, obviously has a good time and sees a lot of different things. And I think it was important for him to get out to USC. Earlier in the summer, he had told me that, out of some schools that were, kind of quietly recruiting him more than others, USC was one of those schools. And, I think by all accounts, if he gets out there, they become a real threat because he looks at things in great detail as well. So, I don't think you can discount USC in this recruitment right now either. Tennessee's obviously still swinging, but at the end of the day, Josh, he's still committed to Georgia and has been for almost 19 months
Right.
now. So it still just kind of remains one of those wait and see things with Jaden Perlotti right now.
All right, well, we'll wait and see with Jaden Perlotti, but Tennessee fans do not have to wait very long to see what David Sanders is going to do. Roughly 2 weeks away from that decision. Tennessee fans, tap in, talk to us. How do we feel about David Sanders? Let us know. Comment section below. Matt Ray, appreciate you taking time from VolQuest. It's a busy weekend on the site. The message boards are going crazy. You guys got a ton of intel. Go check it out if you haven't. Appreciate you dropping by the Inside Scoop today.
Yeah, as always, thanks for having me, Josh.
Well, you've made it to the end of today's video, but there's hundreds more videos on the On3 Recruits channel for you to check out. And also, while you're here, hit subscribe.